Do you remember when your grandfather kept that bright orange box of Arm & Hammer baking soda on the kitchen counter like it belonged there permanently? Not tucked away in a cabinet, not buried in the back of a pantry shelf, right there on the counter next to the salt and pepper, where he could reach it without thinking. That orange box cost 9 cents in 1962, and your grandfather used it for everything, from cleaning the kitchen sink to brushing his teeth, to putting out a grease fire on the stove. He never once bought a specialty cleaning product when baking soda could do the same job for a fraction of the price. Today, we are exploring 20 genius grandpa baking soda hacks that will blow your mind and cut your cleaning bill in half. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, a naturally occurring compound that has been used in American households since the 1840s, when Arm & Hammer first started selling it commercially. The old-timers understood something that modern households have largely forgotten: that the most powerful cleaning agent in your home does not come in a spray bottle with a fancy label. It comes in a plain orange box that costs less than $1 and has been solving household problems for over 150 years. Let's start with cleaning the kitchen sink until it shines. Your grandfather's kitchen sink gleamed like it was brand new, regardless of how old it actually was. He sprinkled baking soda generously across the entire sink surface, added just enough water to make a paste, and scrubbed with a damp cloth in circular motions. The baking soda provided a gentle abrasive action that lifted grease, food residue, and mineral deposits without scratching the porcelain or stainless steel surface the way harsh scouring powders did. He would rinse with hot water and follow with a splash of white vinegar to neutralize any remaining residue and add shine. The entire process took 4 minutes and cost 2 cents. A bottle of commercial sink cleaner cost 89 cents and does the same job as well, eliminating refrigerator odors permanently. Most people know about putting an open box of baking soda in the refrigerator to absorb odors, but your grandfather understood that simply placing the box inside was only half the solution. He poured the baking soda into a shallow open dish rather than leaving it in the box, which dramatically increased the surface area exposed to the air inside the refrigerator and made it 3 times more effective at absorbing odor molecules. He replaced it every 30 days without fail, marking the date on the box with a pencil when he opened it. The used baking soda was not thrown away. It went directly down the kitchen drain with hot water to clean and deodorize the pipes. Nothing in your grandfather's house got used only once if it still had work left to do. Putting out a grease fire on the stove safely. This hack could genuinely save your life, and your grandfather made sure every person in his household knew it before they were allowed to cook alone. A grease fire in a pan on the stove cannot be extinguished with water. Water causes burning oil to explode outward, spreading the fire instantly. Your grandfather kept a box of baking soda within arm's reach of the stove at all times, and everyone in the family knew exactly why it was there. A generous pour of baking soda directly onto a grease fire smothers it immediately by releasing carbon dioxide that displaces the oxygen feeding the flames. He demonstrated this to his children and grandchildren in the backyard with a small controlled fire, so they would never hesitate in a real emergency. Scrubbing burnt food from pots and pans without scratching. A pot with burnt food welded to the bottom was never a reason to reach for steel wool or harsh scouring pads in your grandfather's kitchen. He would fill the pot with enough water to cover the burnt area, add 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and bring it to a boil on the stove. After 5 minutes of simmering, he would remove it from the heat and let it cool for 30 minutes. The combination of heat and baking soda loosened even the most stubborn burnt deposits from the bottom and sides of the pan. What remained after soaking was wiped away with a soft cloth, without any aggressive scrubbing that could damage the cooking surface. pots that looked permanently ruined came back to full service for about 1 cent worth of baking soda. Deodorizing carpets before vacuuming, pet odors, food smells, and general mustiness trapped in carpet fibers were eliminated in your grandfather's house with a treatment so simple it seemed too good to be true. He would sprinkle baking soda generously across the entire carpet surface, work it lightly into the fibers with a stiff brush, and leave it for at least 30 minutes before vacuuming. The baking soda absorbed odor molecules trapped deep in the carpet pile rather than masking them with fragrance the way commercial carpet deodorizers did. For particularly stubborn pet odors, he would leave the baking soda overnight and vacuum in the morning. A 1-pound box of baking soda treated an entire living room carpet for about 15 cents, compared to $6 for a commercial carpet deodorizer that left a chemical fragrance behind for weeks. Cleaning silver jewelry and flatware without polish. Your grandmother's silver flatware came out for every holiday dinner, gleaming as if it had just been purchased, and your grandfather was the one who cleaned it. He lined a glass baking dish with aluminum foil, placed the tarnished silver pieces inside, sprinkled a generous layer of baking soda over everything, and poured boiling water over the whole arrangement until the silver was submerged. Within minutes, the tarnish transferred from the silver to the aluminum foil through an electrochemical reaction, and it required no scrubbing. He removed the silver, rinsed it with clean water, and buffed it dry with a soft cloth. Pieces that were black with tarnish came out gleaming. A commercial silver polish costs $4 a jar and requires significant scrubbing. His method cost 3 cents and required almost no effort at all. Unclogging slow drains without harsh chemicals. Chemical drain cleaners contain lye and sulfuric acid. They clear clogs effectively, but they also corrode pipe joints, damage rubber gaskets, and create toxic fumes in enclosed bathroom spaces. Your grandfather cleared slow drains with baking soda and white vinegar every month as preventive maintenance rather than waiting for a full clog to develop. He would pour half a cup of baking soda directly into the drain, followed immediately by half a cup of white vinegar. The fizzing reaction between the acid and the base broke apart soap scum, grease buildup, and hair accumulation that slowed drainage. After 15 minutes, he would flush with a full kettle of boiling water. This monthly treatment prevented clogs from ever fully developing, and it cost about 10 cents compared to $6 for a bottle of chemical drain cleaner that damaged his pipes every time he used it. Removing coffee and tea stains from mugs and cups. The brown staining that builds up inside coffee mugs and teacups over months of daily use does not respond well to regular dishwashing. Your grandfather filled stained mugs with warm water, added 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and let them soak for 30 minutes. The baking soda broke down the tannin compounds responsible for the brown staining, and after soaking, the stains were wiped away completely with a soft cloth. For heavily stained mugs, he made a paste of baking soda and water, applied it to the stained interior, and scrubbed gently with a cloth. Mugs that had been stained brown for years came out looking white and clean. He applied the same treatment to the glass coffee pot, the tea kettle interior, and any vessel that developed staining from regular hot beverage use. Freshening up smelly shoes and sports equipment. Shoe odor was never tolerated in your grandfather's house, and he had a solution that cost almost nothing. He poured a tablespoon of baking soda directly into each shoe at the end of the day, shook it around to distribute it evenly, and left it overnight. The baking soda absorbed the moisture and neutralized the bacteria responsible for odor, rather than masking the smell with fragrance. In the morning, he would shake the baking soda out over the trash can, and the shoes were genuinely fresh. He applied the same treatment to sports bags, gym equipment, and work boots that developed persistent odors from heavy use. A 1-pound box of baking soda treated every pair of shoes in the house for an entire month for about 15 cents total. Cleaning the oven without toxic fumes. Commercial oven cleaners contain sodium hydroxide, a caustic chemical that produces fumes strong enough to irritate eyes and lungs, and they require rubber gloves and ventilation to use safely. Your grandfather cleaned his oven with baking soda and water and never once needed protective equipment or had to leave the house while the cleaner worked. He would spread a thick paste of baking soda and water across every interior surface of the oven, avoiding the heating elements, and leave it overnight. By morning, the baking soda had absorbed and loosened the grease and burnt food deposits. He would wipe everything away with a damp cloth, spray with white vinegar to neutralize the baking soda residue, wipe again, and the oven was clean. The total cost was about 5 cents. A can of commercial oven cleaner costs $4 and requires 30 minutes of ventilation before the oven can be used again. Treating heartburn and indigestion immediately. Before antacid tablets became a billion-dollar pharmaceutical category, your grandfather treated heartburn the same way doctors had recommended since the 1800s. Half a teaspoon of baking soda stirred into a glass of cold water and drunk slowly neutralized stomach acid within minutes, providing genuine relief from heartburn and indigestion that worked faster than most commercial antacids. The active ingredient in many commercial antacid products is sodium bicarbonate, which is exactly what baking soda is, sold in a flavored tablet at 50 times the price. He kept the orange box in the kitchen cabinet specifically for this purpose and reached for it at the first sign of indigestion rather than driving to the pharmacy for something that cost more and worked no better. Polishing chrome fixtures until they gleamed. Chrome bathroom fixtures, faucets, towel bars, and cabinet hardware that had lost their shine were restored in your grandfather's bathroom with nothing more than a damp cloth and a sprinkle of baking soda. The mild abrasive action of the baking soda removed water spots, soap scum, and oxidation from chrome surfaces without scratching the plating the way harsher abrasives did. He would rinse thoroughly with clean water and buff dry immediately to prevent new water spots from forming. Chrome fixtures polished this way had a genuine mirror shine that lasted weeks. He applied the same treatment to stainless steel fixtures, aluminum trim, and any metal surface that had lost its luster. A single box of baking soda handled every metal surface in his bathroom for an entire year. Keeping cutting boards odor-free between uses. Wooden and plastic cutting boards absorb food odors over time, particularly from onions, garlic, fish, and raw meat, and regular washing with dish soap does not fully eliminate those embedded smells. Your grandfather sprinkled baking soda generously across the cutting board surface after washing, rubbed it in with a damp cloth, let it sit for 10 minutes, then rinsed thoroughly with hot water. The baking soda neutralized the acidic and sulfuric compounds responsible for food odors rather than simply washing them away. He did this after every use involving strong-smelling ingredients, and his cutting boards never developed the persistent sour smell that most cutting boards acquire within months of regular use. The treatment cost fractions of a penny and took about 2 minutes. Washing fruits and vegetables more effectively. A plain water rinse removes visible dirt from produce, but it can leave behind pesticide residues, wax coatings, and bacteria that water alone cannot address. Your grandfather filled the kitchen sink with cold water, added 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and soaked his fruits and vegetables for 5 minutes, then rinsed them with clean water. The slightly alkaline baking soda solution broke down the acidic pesticide residues on the produce surface more effectively than water alone. A 2017 study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry confirmed that a baking soda solution removed significantly more pesticide residue from apple surfaces than either tap water or a bleach solution. Your grandfather did not have that study. He had his mother's advice and 40 years of observation, which told him the same thing. Deodorize the garbage can naturally. That persistent smell rising from the kitchen garbage can is not just the current bag of trash. It is bacteria and decomposing organic matter that have soaked into the plastic of the can itself over months and years of use. Your grandfather sprinkled a generous layer of baking soda in the bottom of the garbage can, beneath the bag, every time he put in a fresh liner. The baking soda absorbed moisture that leaked through the bag and neutralized the bacterial odors that developed in that moisture. When he washed the can, he would scrub the interior with a baking soda paste, rinse thoroughly, and dry completely before replacing the liner. His kitchen never had that sour, garbage smell that most households accept as inevitable. It was never inevitable. It was just untreated. Cleaning grease from garage floors and driveways, oil and grease stains on concrete garage floors and driveways were a fact of life in your grandfather's era of older vehicles that leaked more than modern ones. He poured baking soda generously over fresh oil stains immediately after they appeared, worked it into the stain with a stiff brush, and let it absorb for 30 minutes before sweeping up. The baking soda absorbed the oil from the concrete surface before it could penetrate deeply into the porous material and set permanently. For older set stains, he made a thick paste with baking soda and water, applied it generously, covered it with plastic wrap to keep it moist overnight, and scrubbed with a stiff brush in the morning. His garage floor stayed cleaner than most people's kitchens because he treated every stain immediately rather than letting it become permanent, making a gentle but effective household scrub. Your grandfather mixed baking soda with just enough liquid Castile soap to form a thick paste, and he kept it in a small jar under the kitchen sink as his all-purpose scrubbing compound. This mixture cleaned bathroom tiles, scrubbed the stovetop, polished the kitchen sink, cleaned the toilet bowl, and removed soap scum from shower walls with equal effectiveness. The baking soda provided a gentle, abrasive action while the soap cut through grease and lifted dirt. It rinsed away completely without leaving any residue, and it was safe on every surface in the house, including delicate porcelain and chrome. A jar of this mixture costs about 8 cents to make, and it replaces 4 or 5 different specialty cleaning products that together would have cost $25 or more at the grocery store. Freshening up the washing machine. Front-loading washing machines develop a notorious musty smell from mold and mildew that grows in the rubber door seal and the drum interior from constant moisture exposure. Your grandfather would run an empty hot water cycle with 1 cup of baking soda poured directly into the drum once a month. The baking soda scoured the drum interior, neutralized the odors from mold and mildew, and broke down the soap scum and mineral deposits that accumulated in the machine's internal components. He would follow with a wipe down of the rubber door seal with a cloth dampened in white vinegar. This monthly maintenance routine costs about 5 cents and keeps his washing machine smelling clean and running efficiently for decades longer than machines that never receive this basic care. Soothing sunburn and skin irritation naturally. When someone in the household came in from a day in the summer sun looking red and uncomfortable, your grandfather drew a lukewarm bath and added half a cup of baking soda to the water. Soaking in a baking soda bath for 20 minutes neutralized the acidic compounds on sunburned skin, reduced inflammation, and provided genuine cooling relief that lasted for hours after getting out of the tub. For localized sunburn, he made a paste of baking soda and cool water and applied it directly to the affected area, leaving it in place until it dried and then rinsing gently. The same paste applied to insect bites, minor rashes, and skin irritation from contact with plants provided immediate itch relief. The total cost was about 3 cents per treatment. Polishing tarnished copper pots and pans. Copper cookware was expensive, and your grandfather treated it accordingly. When his copper pots developed the dark tarnish that copper naturally accumulates from heat and air exposure, he made a paste of equal parts baking soda, white vinegar, and table salt, applied it to the copper surface with a soft cloth, and rubbed it in small circular motions. The mild acid from the vinegar, the abrasive action of the salt, and the neutralizing properties of the baking soda work together to lift tarnish from the copper surface and restore the warm reddish gold color that made copper cookware beautiful. He would rinse thoroughly with warm water and buff dry immediately. Pots that had turned nearly black with tarnish came out gleaming for about 4 cents worth of ingredients he already had in the kitchen. These weren't tricks your grandfather found in a cleaning products catalog or learned from a television advertisement. They were passed down through generations of practical people who understood that the most effective solutions are almost always the simplest ones. Baking soda hasn't changed since 1846, when Arm & Hammer first put it in that orange box. The problems it solves haven't changed either. The only thing that's changed is whether we still remember what the old-timers knew about the most powerful cleaning agent that ever sat on an American kitchen counter. If you found these tips useful, give this video a like and share it with someone who is tired of spending money on cleaning products they do not need. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the practical wisdom that's worth holding on to.